Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here. My name is Andrew, coming to you from the beautiful Carolinas. Today's topic is going to be why your friends can't understand your relationship. Think about that for a minute. Everyone, if you like the content, please like, subscribe, and share. So I'm going to jump right into it. You are and or were in a narcissistic relationship. Either way, your friends won't be able to wrap their head around it unless they've experienced it. Now, your friends can be there for you to support you. They can be a sounding board. You can bounce things off of them. But first of all, if you don't understand what you are up against, or let's say you were up against, meaning a narcissist, then how can you expect your friends to understand the same thing that you are wrapping your head around, or it took you a while to process that? So many times people, when they are in the relationship or they have exited it, let's focus on exiting it. When they exit the relationship and then they finally get their first light bulb moment and they realize that they were with a narcissist, then they have to go down the rabbit hole of education, of empowerment, of recognition, of worth, of value, understanding that that person who they were in the relationship with did not have their best interest at heart. Now that's a fact. I mention it frequently on the channel. I will also let you know that you weren't taught this in school. So how could you know what you were up against? This is why so many times when people are trying to communicate with friends or family members that the relationship they were a part of, or again, maybe you're still maybe you're looking to exit it, that it's a toxic relationship. You're going to find out rather quickly that these individuals will get burnt out. They're going to, when you contact them over and over again and communicate with them your concerns, your issues, how you're feeling, the sleepless nights, the crying, the how could you be manipulated, all these things, many times these people will tune you out. Now, I'm not saying everybody will, but each and every one of us has a certain amount of bandwidth to listen to another individual. Not everyone, but most people. Point being, many people are too busy living their own lives. Many people won't lend an ear to you. Many people will for a period of time till they realize, wait, this is actually draining me. I can't be consuming this. And sooner or later, at times, people look at you, the person watching the video, as the person who is in a toxic relationship that they just can't shake it. In other words, they can't get over it. And that is a very painful thing to have to go through. The reason why is because you are processing what the relationship was. And keep this in mind, this is like an alien landing on the planet and completely messing with your life for a period of time. And you don't even know what you're up against, because the experiences that you went through in the relationship, they were many times behind closed doors, and the abuse that went on, it was under the layer. It was subtle many times, not always, but it was meant for you to hear the words of the narcissist, whereas others couldn't even understand what was going on. They just thought everything was fine in your relationship. But when you're trying to explain to others, like your friends, why they won't be able to understand the relationship you were in, it's because they didn't experience it. And again, I will mention this one more time in this video. They can be there as a sounding board for you. They can listen to you, but they're not going to be able to digest it. That's why you need to communicate with people that speak the same language as you, such as myself, or people in the community who have gone through the fire, who have risen through the ashes like a phoenix, who have conquered the narcissistic relationship, who also, alongside of you, have had sleepless nights, perhaps losing weight, perhaps gaining weight, perhaps losing your network of friends, family members, social support system, your job, having physical ailments, meaning perhaps you were losing hair or you were developing skin rashes, etc. Perhaps you went through surgeries or were diagnosed with some kind of illness. These things are the culmination of the body of the relationship, of the toxicity when you are in the relationship with the narcissist, manifesting themselves in the physical realm. Not always, but at times. Why I say that is because when you are walking around on eggshells and you're living moment to moment in fight or flight, or you are not allowed to be heard. In other words, when the front door opens, you couldn't sit down and just have a glass of water and discuss how the day went with the narcissist, could you? Of course not. Why? Because they were too busy on one of their smartphones, or they were too busy boiling water, or they were too busy trying to do something that didn't really matter. But what they weren't doing is they weren't paying attention to you. When that happens over and over and over again, and then you experience rage fits or gaslighting or the silent treatment or being triangulated, these things add up over time. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. And when you're in it, i.e. when you're in the relationship and you're in that narcissistic fog, the trance-like, zombie-like state where you don't know what's going on, you just know that you're looking for a solution, an answer, You need someone to reach out and try to be there for you. And the one person you believe that should be there for you is the narcissist. That is the last person on the planet that will ever be there for you. You should know that by now, in case, or if you did get discarded, you most certainly saw the mask slip, and then you had to identify who this person was. Remember, the person that you perhaps were married to, or in a romantic relationship, or grew up with, or the neighbor, the family member, the friend, whomever, these people, they've always been in front of you. The thing is that you have tolerated the poor behavior. You did not trust your instincts or intuition, and you ignored red flags, perhaps because you were in love, perhaps because you did start a business, or perhaps because you did create a family, who knows? The whole point is, when you go through these relationships, i.e. the narcissistic relationship, it changes you. It changes you forever. And many times you think that you will never get back to being the person you were before the relationship began. Truth is, that's correct. You won't. You will get to such a higher version of yourself. You will be vibrating on such a high level that you will be wondering, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How it happened is because you've experienced trauma and you've experienced abuse for a period of time. And if you've healed properly, taken your time, stay calm, stoic, focused, centered, and understand that you are the priority, that you come first, second, and third, and that no longer being a people pleaser serves you, and that having boundaries is instrumental, and that learning the strongest word in the English language, which is no, and when you say no to something or someone, you are saying yes to yourself. When you process all of these things and also perhaps heal childhood wounds and understand that not everybody has your best interest at heart, that's when you really start to understand the message. The message is the relationship you went through, it was something that you couldn't change. Did you want to go through the narcissistic relationship or relationships? Of course not. You would rather be living a great life, stress-free, drama-free, creating, building, growing. However, you had to go through that relationship because that is exactly one of life's learning lessons that you had to experience. Now, does everybody go through a narcissistic relationship? Absolutely not. Some people do go through it and they don't make it, if you get my point. Others go through it and they never get the wisdom. They just can't figure out what that thing was, the relationship they were. Other people stay in the relationship because they're beaten down so much, they're in the zombie-like narcissistic fog, and they just believe it's easier to stay with the known rather than to branch out and explore the unknown. In other words, end the relationship. Other people just can't move on because perhaps they're reliant upon the narcissist for resources, meaning shelter, food, clothing, access to family members. In other words, the narcissist can control if you see the grandkids or the kids, etc. These things are just a few of the layers of the onion to be peeled back post-narcissistic relationship. But getting back to the thumbnail, why your friends don't understand the relationship, it's because they can't wrap their head around it. Many times your friends, when the relationship has ended, many times they will be there as a support system, and they'll give you advice such as this: just meet somebody else, it's no big deal. Or, yeah, I thought there could be some issues there, but you know, you'll be fine. Just tough it out. Be strong. It's okay. They'll say things like that, or they'll downplay it, or they'll say, you think you have it bad. Wow, I have it really bad. And they'll change the whole direction of what you're trying to present to them back on themselves. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is my ending of the relationship and I need support here, and you're talking about yourself? Unfortunately, please get the message here, everybody. Many people like to talk about themselves. Many other people don't want to listen to you or your concerns. Most people on the planet haven't experienced the narcissistic relationship, certainly not to the level you have. So again, they won't be able to help you other than to be a sounding board until they get drained and they can't take on any more of the experiences you share with them. And these people, believe me, when I tell you, everybody has a threshold, every single person. Having said that, each and every person on the planet exposes themselves eventually. They reveal who they are: good, fair, poor, bad, or indifferent. And the narcissist, by now, you know that they've revealed themselves. You didn't know who you were up against or what you were up against when you were in the relationship, because most likely you were being breadcrumbed or strung along, future faked, being financially abused, being told that things would improve, when the whole time when you were in the relationship, the narcissist was getting supply behind your back, in front of you, and they were certainly looking for your replacement. Point being is your friends aren't going to be able to grasp it. Now, if you're one of the fortunate ones where one of your friends went through a narcissistic relationship, that is instrumental. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Let me say this, first of all. Once post-narcissistic relationship, or say you're in it, and once you get that first light bulb moment and you find the needle in the haystack and you understand that narcissism is what you were involved in, or a toxic relationship that didn't serve you, that is huge. That is a turning point in your life. That is empowerment. That is when you need to get the education, because you will crave it and you will have to figure this out, because no one's going to come knock on your door and rescue you. Tough love, but it's a fact. That's part one. Part two is, if you're fortunate enough to have a friend or somebody who's gone through this, believe me when I tell you, that person, they should, not saying they will, but they should be able to support you unlike anybody else, because they too were in your shoes at one period. Understand that. It's huge. That's exactly why I do what I do, because I've been down that rabbit hole. I've been in the relationship. I know what it's like. It is a very challenging place to be when you believe you are isolated, and because you are, and you're all alone, and you don't think anyone else could even comprehend what you're going through. Truth is, post-narcissistic relationship, if you dust yourself off and you get the wisdom and you heal properly, like I have, you'll understand that this is a superpower. This is when you enter the third version of you. I mentioned that a little while ago. Remember, there are three versions of you. The version of you before you met the narcissist, the version of you when you're in the narcissistic relationship, existing, not living, existing in the narcissistic fog. And the third version of you is post-narcissistic relationship after you've healed. That is where the abundance happens. That's where all the doors open. That's where everything is completely different. You're vibrating on such a high level because you've gone through the fire and you've processed things and you've healed. Not everybody gets there. But if you take your time and you take the proper steps and understand that the narcissist never had your best interest at heart, not in the past, not now, and not in the future, and that you have to place your energy into yourself. As I mentioned, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. When you do that, you will begin to understand that, wow, this was something you had to go through. My friends can't wrap their head around it. I can't burn them out any longer. I'm gonna have to dig in deep to myself and heal myself with the help of a therapist, perhaps, with the help of videos, with the help, certainly, of journaling. I can't emphasize enough how imperative journaling is on the healing path, and with the help of reading and meditating and processing and slowing down. That's another thing before I close the video. Remember, the narcissist was usually making you jump through hoops, moving at light speed, responding quickly, keeping you out of your element, keeping you vibrating low with them in the quagmire, down below where you usually vibrate. That's what they wanted to do, and they did it for a period of time. Until when? Until they couldn't do it any longer. That's when you begin to understand, wow, I can really slow down. I don't have to do 1,000 things each and every day, and I don't have to have an endless laundry list of things to do, including on weekends, that many things are just, why am I even doing it? Why? Because the narcissist wanted to control you, and they wanted to manipulate you, and they didn't want you investing in yourself. They wanted you investing in them and pumping them up. So before I close the video, understand, many, if not all of your friends won't be able to understand the relationship you're in. Many of them have their own issues and concerns. Many of them, think about this for a minute, could be in a narcissistic relationship and they don't even know it themselves. Think about that. It's quite possible. And others just will actually relish and or enjoy your demise and or downfall. Yes, it's unfortunate, but it's true. Many people like to see discomfort in individuals. Believe me, I know that firsthand. And the other part is, other people, they can't be there for you. They don't understand, and they don't have the bandwidth to comprehend it. So guys, I hope you get the message. The message is, don't burn out the relationships you have. Maintain healthy, stable relationships, and be patient with people if you can, because I am telling you firsthand, many people can't even wrap their head around the narcissistic abusive cycle. And most, if not all, they won't experience it the way you did. So guys, that's the video. I hope you liked it. I loved doing it from the beautiful Carolinas. This is Andrew. Namaste. Have a great afternoon. Stay true, stay blessed. Continue to become awakened and aware, and understand you are the priority. You come first, second, and third. Please get the message. You need to take action. You need to insulate yourself and protect yourself. Get the wisdom, get the education. Invest in yourself. If not now, when? Wherever, no matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. God bless you. Remember that. No matter where you are on the planet, you are not alone. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye, you guys.